This is it. You have taken down everything that has been thrown at you in the dungeons, the bosses of these, and even the greatest evil's right hands. It's time to face the final boss of the game, and luckily, The Legend of Zelda has some of the best final bosses in the gaming industry.
So let's not waste any more time, but make sure to like and subscribe, as these are our top 10 Zelda final bosses.
You know this list will be good when we opened up with Link's very own Shadow. Fighting your own Shadow is always a challenge. Every move you make, every breath you take, your Shadow will be sure to follow. Most Zelda players, including myself, may have been introduced to this battle concept through Ocarina of Time's Dark Link, but that doesn't change the fact that the first to break this fourth wall of Hyrule was Link's Shadow, the final boss offered by the King of Hyrule in Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. This might seem like a dick move to test a hero who took down Ganon and all the monsters of the Temples of Hyrule, but let's look at what was on the line. The complete Triforce and the sleeping Princess Zelda from the Golden Era. And holy Triforce is this battle tough. Luckily, there are two strategies to take your Dark Doppelganger down quickly. First is to strike when his guard is down, and the latter and more famous is to duck in the left corner and continuously stab the Shadow. We recommend at least trying before resorting to the corner strategy, as this battle deserves it. It is a balls-hard final challenge to conclude a balls-hard quest. The source of suffering and the greatest plague of Hyrule that destroyed the kingdom 100 years prior and has ever since been embroiled in a century-long battle with the fully powered Princess Zelda. From the very beginning of Breath of the Wild, he is there teasing you until you finally decide to enter Hyrule Castle's sanctum. And this experience can be everything from terrifying when you have 4 hearts and have to face all 4 Blight Ganons before Calamity Ganon, or it could be a cakewalk where you only face the big baddie after the deceased champions evaporate half of Calamity Ganon's health before you even inflict a single slice of damage. And this is why it's so hard to place Calamity Ganon, since there is so much attached to this fight. If you go straight to him, then he is the most challenging opponent in the entire game, if not the series. But if you go to him after regaining all memories, clearing all divine beasts, and completing a fair number of shrines, then this is a completely different fight. With that said, Calamity Ganon does put up a fight with the complete package from the Blight Ganons, offering ice, wind, fire, and lightning attacks. The battle is probably the most versatile boss in the series, and in the second phase, you have to deflect its beams. Then why only the 9th spot? Calamity Ganon is a good fight, but it is one that we have fought already 4 times throughout the game, and when you can't wait for his second form, well, the entire excitement and build-up is ruined by what is in essence target practice with the Bow of Light on the broken heavy tank named Dark Beast Ganon.
A Link Between Worlds was originally supposed to be a remake of A Link to the Past, and that explains the resurrection of Ganon by Yuga with the Triforce of Power in Lorule, and then the morphing of the two into Yuga Ganon. From this point onward until Link claims the Triforce of Courage, Princess Hilda waits in Lorule Castle, but when she realizes that Link has no intentions of giving away Hyrule's Triforce to Lorule, she unleashes Yuga Ganon, and what a fight this is. The first phase is rather simple, as the massive pig uses his trident and magic attacks to take you down, but when this fails, Yuga Ganon betrays Hilda and claims the Triforce of Wisdom. At first it may appear that it will be a classic Triforce of Power and Wisdom versus the Triforce of Courage battle, until Princess Zelda grants you the Bow of Light to take down Yuga and Ganon once and for all. Since Hilda also dropped the barrier that kept you away from merging into the walls in the first phase of the battle, this final showdown is now taking place both on the castle floor and through its walls. And even though the battle doesn't last long with the Master Sword level 3 and the Red Mage, this fight is still a ton of fun, with interdimensional drama and a very sweet aftermath, which must be among the best endings in the series.
Girahim has succeeded in becoming the spirit within Demise's anti-Master Sword once again, and is ready to serve his master to take you down once and for all. Even so, you are granted a choice from the Demon King. Run and wait for the apocalypse Demise will certainly bring on the surface, or fight. The answer is to fight and use the fully powered Master Sword to demonstrate that he will never rule the world. And from time to time, you just want a proper sword duel. And luckily, against Demise, we got the noble confrontation with motion controls that we have always dreamed about. Well, that can at least be said about the first phase of the battle, since the key mechanic to master in the final phase is... In the end, Demise's cockiness leads to his demise, when the hero of the sky pierces the first Demon King with the Master Sword. However, Demise might have admitted defeat, but...
My hate never perishes. It is born in a cycle of no end.
And yes, that hatred lives on, as we will soon see in this list.
Vaati, the Minish apprentice turned sorcerer and finally madman, when you confront him deep in Hyrule Castle. The entirety of the Minish cap from the Picori festival builds up to this confrontation, when Link steps up with the reforged Force Sword. To Link's misfortune, Vaati has already drained most of Zelda's light force and transforms into Vaati Reborn. This is only the first of 3 phases, as Link pierces through Vaati's defenses while avoiding his fireballs and deadly eye beams. Naturally, the weak point to a sorcerer so fixated on eyes is open eyes. This applies to Vaati Reborn and then Vaati Transfigured. The fight against the next form is very interesting because of the power of the Force Sword, which allows Link to duplicate himself and deal multiple damage to Vaati and his eyes. After a very chaotic battle, Vaati appears to be gone as you turn Princess Zelda back to life from her stone form. Then at the sanctuary, Vaati strikes back one final time, and it's up to us and the Force Sword to take him down for good. This fight has everything you could desire from a 2D fight, as Vaati and his more and more disturbing eye forms are taken down one by one. And to bring it all to a close, Princess Zelda uses Vaati's mage cap to turn things back prior to his mischievous actions. Too bad that Vaati was only sealed in the Force Sword.
We are down to the final 5, and it's time for the first Ganondorf final battle of the list. Or at least it appears that this will be the battle as you enter the throne room of Twilight Princess's Hyrule Castle. Since instead of facing the hero of Twilight, Midna, and the fully powered Master Sword, Ganondorf first possesses Princess Zelda to create Puppet Zelda, knocks out Midna, and delivers a very nice combo of sword dives, Triforce of Wisdom danger areas, and finally tennis with an energy ball. When Link finally frees Zelda from this awful treatment, Ganondorf still was too scared to face Link in his true form, and instead turned into Beast Ganon, which is brought down by the usage of the revived Midna and Wolf Link, or a few precise dodges and spin attacks. Both of these are sure to bring back Ganondorf to his spirit form from the Twilight Realm. Then when it seems that Midna has crushed Ganondorf with the fused shadow and her gigantic spear, Ganondorf raises triumphant on his horse and crushes the Twilight Helmet. However, thanks to Epona and Zelda with her light arrows, Link is able to chase down Dark Rider Ganondorf and force him to a last stand. The Sage's Sword versus the Master Sword, both holy blades that require physical strength to break a stalemate against Dark Lord Ganondorf and strike him in his wounded chest, and finally pierce the same chest with the Master Sword. Sound familiar? Well, it is pretty much the same as what was the case against Demise. Quite fitting since both fights end with the death of Demise and Ganondorf, but not the curse cast by the former. The final boss's showdown in Twilight Princess is a true spectacle, and though not even close to the difficulty of, say, Link's Shadow, it is a 4-stage finale fitting to Twilight Princess that involves Link, Midna, and Zelda against Ganondorf. Before Ganon became the primitive pig that only sought destruction, he was a cunning, highly intelligent demon king who ruled the Dark World with the complete Triforce and his growing army of foolish fortune seekers turned monsters. Despite failing to break free in the imprisoning war, Ganon maintained control over the complete Triforce until he was challenged in the interiors of the Pyramid of Power by none other than the Hero of Legend. The Hero of Legend's first battle against Ganon is a SNES classic. which to this day is considered as one of the best final battles in the series, and by far its best top-down 2D battle. So good that parts of the Yuga battle was based off of this fight. The first phase sees Link wielding his golden sword to hurt Ganon, who is throwing his trident like a boomerang, teleports from spot to spot, and launches fire keys as a protective rotating ring. In the next portion of the fight, Ganon will disintegrate the outer boundary of the stage, forcing you closer and closer to try and burn you up with his more powerful fire keys. Ganon's main attacks are lines of fire, teleportation, and invisibility, as Link has to light both torches before he can strike down Ganon with his silver arrows. This battle screams Zelda like nothing else, and is the fight that most refer to as the staple confrontation against Ganon, at his own turf in the Dark World and with the complete Triforce. No doubt, only the hero of legend could destroy the monster that murdered the hero of time and laid Hyrule in ruins during the imprisoning war and reclaim the Triforce for the royal family.
There's a certain charm to Ganondorf's and Ganon's last stands in the 3 timeline branches, and though all of them are incredibly climactic, the only one deserving of the final boss battle podium has to be Ganondorf's rage while Hyrule is about to be flooded for good in the Wind Waker. The build up to this battle is amazing, with Ganondorf explaining at the top of his tower his motivations. Specifically, what makes this confrontation so unique in Zelda history is his change of heart. Sympathy to the people of the Great Sea, and the fact that he doesn't kill the Hero of the Winds to obtain the complete Triforce. No doubt, this is the most human version of Ganondorf we have seen throughout the Zelda series, as he appears to be a completely different person than the monster that is seen in all other circumstances, a potential leader of a resurrected Hyrule. Nevertheless, this stance quickly changes after he at the last second is denied his wish by King Daphnes no Hansen Hyrule, who instead wishes for Hyrule to be washed away for good. Naturally, Ganondorf doesn't take this nicely and decides to murder Link and Zelda. What follows is the climax of the adult timeline where Ganondorf with his 2 swords goes against both Link with the Master Sword and Zelda with the Bow of Light. Then why isn't this fight the number 1 on the list? Well, the confrontation, though a spectacular showdown, is very simple, as Ganondorf is vulnerable to Zelda's light arrows in the first phase, and then by Link's parry attacks. Yes, the same attack you use to defeat every Dark Knight in the game. Rinse and repeat until Zelda fires off the decisive arrow for Link to finish Ganondorf off with, through his mirror shield, and then a parry attack to place the Master Sword in his skull.
Brutal, but still not enough to claim the first spot of the list. But before we move on to the final 2 bosses, let's go over to some honorable mentions. Majora is by far the most creepy villain in the entire series, in part because it is an evil spirit sealed in a mask who wishes for only one thing: destruction. And after using the naive Skull Kid as its puppet, it is very close to its aim of crushing the land of Termina with its own moon. The only one in its way, the courageous hero of time. Now there is 2 ways this battle can go. 1, you have the fierce deity mask upon completing every mask quest in Majora's Mask, and destroy Majora and its later forms within a few seconds with your powerful swipes. The other way lasts a little longer, as we reach closer to the inner reality and madness that is Majora. Being the first Zelda final boss in the series with 3 forms, Majora does not hold back. First in its mask form, where the evil spirit uses the mask of the temple bosses to its assistance, but not for long, as the hero of time equipped with his sword, mirror shield, and bow of light takes out all of Majora's defenses. However, this is only the beginning of the fight, as Majora soon grows legs, hands, and a head as Majora's incarnation and starts running around like a headless chicken while launching powerful attacks. Luckily, the light arrows and a sword is enough to bring this psycho form of Majora down to its knees and force it to transform to its terrifying form, Majora's Wrath. This final phase is a desperate last stand, where Majora attempts to whip you to death, but to no avail, as the spirit within the mask is destroyed once and for all. Your reward? The salvation of Termina from the apocalypse. Now what could possibly top this 3-form monster deep inside Termina's moon? Oh, you know very well what battle it is. How could we not place this confrontation at the top? And though some will say the first phase involving a tennis match against Ganondorf is weak, we strongly have to disagree, as this entire fight builds up to what is the pinnacle of boss battles. But let's take it one step at a time, since upon entering the top chamber of Ganon's tower and conquering all of his obstacles, you are greeted by the Thief King himself, playing organs, and then turning around as he realizes that the Triforce of Power, Wisdom, and Courage had finally been brought back to one place.
And this is the setup for what at first appears to be a more technical tennis rematch against Phantom Ganon, or with the use of the light arrows until Ganon falls to the ground and vomits prior to collapsing within his throne room. This appears to be it, but Ganondorf refuses to die without bringing the Hero of Time and Princess Zelda with him. This results in the collapsing of the tower and Link and Zelda's narrow escape, just to see Ganondorf re-emerge from the ruins and with the use of the Triforce of Power transform into the Demon King Ganon. No doubt, subverting expectations with Ganondorf's tennis rematch, the escape from the tower and then the frightening transformation from man to beast, is what makes Ganon's entrance so effective. That, and the fact that before the last battle commences with its amazing music track, Ganon does what has never been done before and since in the Zelda series. He knocks out the Master Sword, leaving Link to find a different way to pierce through his defenses and reach his tail. The first phase of this fight is a battle for survival, where Link is forced to use other weapons from the temples of Hyrule to damage Ganon enough until his barrier falls, and the Master Sword can be used to bring Ganon down to his knees, and Princess Zelda to use her magic to keep the giant pig in place until Link can swipe the decisive blows with the Master Sword. This battle is a masterclass in climax, build-up and pacing that to this day has not been surpassed, and the fact that there are two outcomes to Ganondorf's confrontation against the Hero of Time tells of the magnitude of the final battles to what would become the adult and downfall timeline branches.
Some of the other battles on this list may be more difficult, or even have more forms and phases, but Ganondorf/Ganon cannot be beaten, as in this battle, you clearly know, see, hear, and taste what is at stake. The perfect pacing from Ganondorf, escape sequence to the transformation to Ganon, knocking out the Master Sword, and finally bringing the beast down and sealing it away is the pinnacle of all boss fights in this series. And there you have it. Make sure to like, comment, and if you are new, subscribe and press that shiny notification bell to not miss any of our future Zelda videos, where we, every Saturday forward, will exchange between uploading Zelda top 10s, rankings, theories, timelines, and last but not least, next Zelda game and Link's Awakening Switch videos. So make sure to subscribe. Less than 11,000 subscribers remain to 200k, and when we reach that, we will launch another brand new Zelda series.
Finally, if you're hungry for more, like our gracious patrons and in particular roller producers Kenyatta Ali and Bradley Carriage on patreon.com/commonrealm, then make sure to check out our Zelda villain timeline or our top 10 Zelda bosses video that we uploaded last week. Until the next video, this was Conrad and Joseph of the Commonwealth Realm, and we will see you soon.